Welcome to the Just As We Are podcast. I'm Katrina Lelly, certified life coach, aspiring author, lover of people, mama in recovery, and student of life. Each week, I will bring you love, inspiration, the real life stuff people are afraid to talk about, and guests who are willing to shine their light for you. I give you self-care practices and mindset tips to help you shatter the negative stories you tell yourself. Now is the time to step into the beautiful, loved, whole woman you already are. Let's walk this journey together. Hello and welcome back to the Just As We Are podcast. Thank you so much, Jordan, for being here with me. I am super excited about our conversation today. You guys, I met Jordan at the Millionaire Society and through the Millionaire Society and in person at Mommy Millionaire Live. And I cannot tell you, she is such a old soul who we have so much in common. The more we talk, I just can't wait to dive into our conversation. How are you this morning?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Katrina, for having me. I am fantastic. I'm actually freezing. I just told Bo, it's so cold in here. Anytime it gets below 50 degrees in Florida, break out the Ugg boots.
That is so funny. I forget that that you're in Florida, and I'm in Washington State, and 50 degrees is kind of warm these days.
Yeah, it's we're on opposite sides of the country.
Yeah,
which is so cool.
That's awesome. So, Jordan, we have just been talking a lot about where we came from, our lives, and I found that we have so much in common. And it's so funny how when you meet women and come together, the more that we conversate, the more that you find you do have in common. And so that's what makes me super excited to have this conversation because I'm super interested in your story and hearing more about it. I've heard bits and pieces of it. And so I just want you to kind of dive in, tell us about what you do, where you're from, and then we'll dive into a little bit more about your story.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And if you hear dog food rattling in the background, I'm so sorry. We have a new puppy and it's lunchtime. So I am Jordan English. I live in Pensacola, Florida. I am married to a wonderful man. I have a little girl we have a little girl who is 6. Her name is Avery. And we have our son, Benjamin, who is 2.5. It's, a little family and I love it. And we have a real estate team together. That is our main source of income. I also have a podcast called the Life for Me podcast. And I'm also a beauty influencer. Oh, and I have a course. That too.
Did you say media influencer?
A beauty
influencer. Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Tell me more about a beauty influencer.
Okay, so I have partnered with a luxury hair care and skincare company. It is a network marketing company, and it was really interesting because the girl that I signed up with, her name is Erica Burkhart, and she recently moved to Pensacola within the last year, and she found me on Instagram, and we had coffee dates, and we met, and we just hit it off, and she never, ever asked me to buy anything or sell anything or anything. We just were 2 entrepreneur women that were, that love Rachel Hollis and, and just really, really connected. And then I posted on my Instagram that to be open to opportunities because I just find that women are so scared of trying something new that they, just they don't do anything. And I think I was talking about something totally random, but she messaged me and she's like, so I see you're open to new opportunities. And I was like, yes. And so she finally asked me to think about joining, and I signed up 2 hours later. I was like, yeah, sure, let's do this. Because I, as a real estate agent, already do all the things that is necessary to be successful in network marketing. Prospecting and lead generation and building relationships and asking for the sale and, but signing up someone in network marketing is just the same as getting a listing agreement or a buyer's agreement. So it was like so in alignment with what I was already doing, but it gave me another avenue to help women become financially free, which was another thing. And plus, like, I have really good hair. And so it was like, people are like, oh, I already have good hair. Like, no, you could have better hair and you could use that hair to make money. So like, why not? I'm just so open to like any opportunity. So, and plus I really, really wanted a community of women that were uplifting and in my corner and cheering me on. So yeah, all that good stuff.
I love that you said you're just so open to any opportunity, because I did a live in my community group about this yesterday, about the importance of being open, especially when you throw a goal out there and you put something out there, to actually have the energy behind it, that you're actually open to receiving that. Because oftentimes what I have found is when we throw something out there that we say that we want to do or want to have, or what a relationship we want to bring in, or an opportunity, oftentimes it doesn't come back the way we think it's going to, or in the time frame that it's going to. It looks nothing like that. So when we throw a goal out there, and at least for me, in my experience, I've had it in my mind, okay, I'm going to throw this goal out there. This is how it's going to get done. This is the time frame it's going to get done. Doing that almost sets you up for, disappointment in a way, because usually the goal or whatever it is comes back in a completely different way. So the question always is am I truly open to this goal presenting itself, and being open to it coming to me in a way that probably isn't going to be the way that I think about it.
Right. And just to add to that, like, the whole point of what you just said is unhappiness is like having failed expectations. And a lot of it is expectations. Like, I expect to be so successful in real estate that I don't have to do network marketing. Like, that's what people say. Like, or I like expect that I'm going to get married by this age. Or I expect that, this is from personal experience. Like, I expect that, like, my boyfriend and I have been together for a long time. We have a house, we have 2 kids, like, we're doing okay. Like, when are we getting married? Like, I expect us to get married, like, right now. So, like, but, failed expectations, like, really can lead to unhappiness. So just being open to what that experience could be is going to transform the way you look at your life.
Absolutely. Like, those expectations are a killer, and they come up so often. We have to retrain our brain to, be open and surrender to what is, and let those expectations go. I wanted to ask you, how long have you been doing real estate, and what brought you to real estate?
Such a great question. So I have been doing real estate. This May will be 3 years. So the first year, okay, I have to backtrack just a little bit. So I was on the path to become an accountant. I graduated my accounting degree when my son was about 12 weeks old, or when I was about 12 weeks pregnant with my son. So whenever I finished my degree and I was starting my master's and doing internships, I was like 20, 30 weeks pregnant. So they're not going to hire a pregnant girl. It's just not going to happen, especially not that pregnant. And so Bo was like, Jordan, just come work for me. Like, I need help. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Because I'd been working so hard for independence and to be able to provide for my family by myself. And accounting was such a like stable route to go, because if you know how to work money, you can work in any business anywhere, you can get hired anywhere. So that's what I thought I was going to do, and finally realized, like, yeah, I'm not going to get hired anywhere, because I told myself, I was like, oh, it's 20 whatever, like I think it was like 2016, like, they can't not hire me just because I'm pregnant. Like, they're not going to do that. Like, I'm awesome. And I did not get hired. I went on a job interview and they never called me back. And it was very stressful. So I finally was like, okay, like, let's do this. And I let go of that expectation of getting a job, after I had gotten my degree. And we started working together. And it was such a blessing, because whenever I was that far along with my daughter, I was still working. I worked and worked and worked until like I couldn't put on shoes anymore. And that was like 1 week before I delivered her. And it was so stressful. I was so large. It was just not it was not a good time. So for me to be able to kind of like put my feet up and work from a laptop on paperwork and social media and things like that for my boyfriend with real estate, which something I was so excited about. Like it was always my dream job to be a real estate agent, but my mom told me it wasn't a real job. So I was like, oh my gosh, I get to post pictures of houses on Facebook. Like it's great. Like I get to do all this stuff. And so then I didn't have my license. So I was basically his assistant. And then I got like really irritated with just being an assistant because not only was I like not his wife yet, I was like the girlfriend, the baby mama, and the assistant. So I was like low man on the totem pole. And that really irritated me. Whenever that came to a head was at the Christmas party that year, was because like I started meeting like all the people in our market center, like all the other real estate agents that were super successful. And they're like, so what do you know, like, oh, you're Bo's assistant. Like, oh, how cute are you? And I was just like, ugh. And so I found myself saying like, I have an accounting degree. Like that was like my punchline because I wanted people to know like I was smart. And that I, know what I'm doing and I'm not just like some dude's assistant. Like I was so irritated. So then I talked to Ben and I was like, I want to get my real estate license. And he was like, oh, we don't need to do that. That's like double MLS dues, like there's double association dues, like yada, yada. I have one, you don't need one. And I was like, no, I'm getting my real estate license. And it's like, it's okay. It'll be fine. Like, I just can't because being an assistant in real estate, there's a lot of things that you can't discuss, like negotiations and repair. And like, it's like a really fine line of like how much you can do. So I wasn't really able to help as much as I could have. So we get married that February 2018 and I am licensed in February or March. Yeah. Right in that same time. And so I changed my name. We got married. I got my license and we built a team like all within 1 month. And then in April, we were number one in our market center.
Wow.
Yeah. So
awesome.
it was just like it finally all came together and we just started really cranking it out and getting really busy. And, because I went from certainty of like the accounting path to instability with commission-based income. And I was like, how can we get this to provide for our family of 4 and pay off debt and travel and all those things?
That's amazing. That's so exciting. And I really admire couples who work together like that. That's one of my goals and dreams for my husband, Josh, and I is to be working together. I want to bring him home and have him work, underneath this big vision that I have while he still, and he's a mechanic type of guy and he likes tinkering and building things and crafting things. So he wants the time to do that. So I'm like, well, you could do that too. And we could work together on this project that I have, and I just love that. It's super exciting. So let's dive back a little bit more. I know that you had your daughter at the age of 19 and you were involved in another relationship. You were married at that time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you were married. And so I want to, if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit more about that experience, because I know that was kind of a rocky time in your life, and I'd love to hear more about that.
Of course. So I'm going to, again, like take it back just a little bit. So in high school, or really I'm going to take it way back. So whenever I was little, I was never the girl that had a boyfriend. Like all my friends had boyfriends and like no one ever wanted to be my boyfriend. And it was like, I just immediately like comparison. And I was so sad. And then like in 3rd grade, I was the chunky friend. Like I became the chunky friend. And then like around 8th grade, I kind of like blossomed, as you would say. And I, had my curves and, but I still felt like I was like the chunky girl because that's who I identified myself with. And like all my friends were like size 0s, like teeny boppers. And I was like a size 8. And so I just thought I was so big, and which is so funny to me now. So I'm like, man, I like my size 8. Like, let's get back in that 8. But I just like that played in my head all the time is like, nobody wants me. Nobody wants to be my boyfriend. So I met it was like at a baseball game or something that summer. And I lived in a very, very small town. And there was this guy that was a couple years older than me that, got my attention, or I got his or whatever. And then it was like, okay, do we let Jordan date this guy that's like 3 years older than her? And my mom and dad like really had to talk about it because like he was in high school and I was like in 8th grade, going into 9th grade. But it was like, do we let her date someone so much older? So they decided that it was okay because like I have always been an old soul. So, and my mom like had always been with older guys. So she's like, well, maybe Jordan's just going to be that way and be with older people too. So then let me get into this relationship, and it turned into a very, very, very serious relationship. Like he was at my house like every single day, like alienated me from my friends, like what let me hang out with my friends. He was very, very verbally abusive, very, very, very controlling, very manipulative. He and basically like all of like my best friend's boyfriend wouldn't even hang out with him because of how much he lied. But I was blind to it. And so I was in that relationship for 5.5 years, like all the way through high school and into junior college. And finally, I just had enough. And I was like, I mean, there's a ton of things that happened in that time, but like cheating and lying and all that good stuff. But I finally like had enough. And so I broke up with him in December, like right before Christmas. I was like, I cannot deal with you anymore. Because, when it gets around the holidays, you're like, oh, just wait till after Christmas,
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, like I cannot deal with you anymore. Go away. And it was a really, really terrible breakup because, like our families had been a part of each other's families for 5 years. And all of a sudden, Jordan got a wild hair and decided to break up with him. And I was like, no, y'all have no idea. Like, y'all have no idea what's going on. So then 1 month later, I was at a bar on like a college night because you can get in, when you're like 18, but you can't drink. But you're still around everybody that's old enough to drink. So I went to this bar. I was invited by some friends that like I really didn't know that well, but I was just trying to get out of the house. And I ended up meeting Avery's dad. And he was 8 years older than me. He swept me off my feet and put me up on a pedestal, made me believe that I was the most beautiful queen that had ever lived. Like he bought me all the things. He would take me to the fancy dinners, like just waited on me hand and foot, just made me believe like I was like the best thing ever in the world. And we get pregnant very quickly. And so I'm from the South. So if you get pregnant, you plan a wedding. That's just what happens. So we planned a wedding in May. And 1 week before the wedding, I had a miscarriage. And I was 18. Yeah, 18. I was 18 years old. And no one ever really talks about that. So I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know. And everyone's like, well, that was the only reason why y'all were getting married. So like, since that's gone, are you still getting married? And I was like, yeah, we're in love. Like I have a dress, like invitations are out, like we're getting married. So we get married 1 week after having a miscarriage, like no time to process what had just happened. So I just like go right into the next thing. So we get married, we move to a house, and I can just immediately see that like I made a mistake because things started popping up. Like he wouldn't add me to the bank account. He like wouldn't give me any money, and I didn't have a job, and I was told I was going to be taken care of. And like all these like little things started to pop up, and I was like, this isn't good. This is not good. What did I do? But I'm stubborn. So I was like, I'm going to make it work. It's going to be the best thing ever. So I decided I was going to go back to school. Well, in the middle of me trying to get enrolled into the university here in Pensacola, I found out I was pregnant again. And I was like, no, because, like whenever you have a loss like that, like in your mind, you're like, okay, I'm going to be a mom now. And I'm going to have all these things and I need a plan. And then that gets taken away from you. And then you go into a new story of like, okay, well, I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to get a job and I'm going to, get back on track and it's going to be great. And then that gets taken away from you. And then you go back into, okay, I'm going to be a mom. It was like whiplash of like what my life was going to be.
Did you allow yourself during that period of time at all to do any grieving around that miscarriage? Or was it
oh no,
so much that, okay, we're doing this next?
Just on to the next thing. I did not skip a beat, not one beat. And so I just went on to the next thing, and I was like, this is life. We just keep on rolling. And so I got a job, and I was really proud of that job, and I worked really, really, really hard. And so that time frame between like finding out that we were pregnant in like July to April when she was born was such a blur. Like I don't even remember. Like I just went into work. I would come home. He may or may not be home. He may or may not be drunk. It was just a toss up. I was like, I'm just going to try to stay alive, try to keep my baby healthy, try to eat at some point, and try to not have my furniture taken away.
Did you have any support around you at that time? Like, were your parents in the know of your situation? Did you have anybody around you that knew, friends or anything that kind of like saw what was going on and or Jordan, look at this is what's happening, and then let's address the fact that you had this miscarriage and like go. Did anybody like come into your life and speak that into you?
Nope. Nobody. I mean, don't get me wrong. My parents and my family are absolutely amazing. And I'm sure they probably tried to do something, but I was just too blind and too in my own little bubble to see it. I didn't have any friends. Like I had friends, but they were all off at college, like my friends that I grew up with. And I hadn't made any new friends. And the people that I worked with, they saw what was going on. But again, like couldn't really say anything. So I was in my own little world. And I was in that world up until Avery was born. And then my world flipped upside down. And I just saw her and I was like, this is the most perfect, most beautiful little thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life. I have a letter that I wrote to her the day she was born in her baby book. And it was like, I know how beautiful you are because of this. Like, I know I can see how strong you are and how resilient you are and you're going to take over the world. And like everything I put in that letter is what she is now, almost 7 years later. And just that I could see that on the first day, like that's how in tune we were to each other. And I was like, I will never, ever, ever let anybody hurt this baby. I went into mama bear mode. I was like, it's not ever going to happen. So, a few more months go by, I deal with more and more crap. And I'm just like in like tunnel vision, just go to work, take care of the baby, go to sleep, go to work, take care of the baby, go to sleep. That's all I could do. And I couldn't even like be excited that I have like a brand new baby. It was like, oh hell, how am I supposed to work and have energy and stay up all night with this baby and pay the bills and cook food and. So we moved into the apartments where I was working. And a lot of like, there's just so much crap that happened. It was just like, I'll write a book one day, but there was just so much stuff that happened. And that was just so surreal. Like I had to drive him to his job at 4:00 in the morning with a newborn because his license got revoked or something. And then like he didn't have a license plate on his vehicle because it was a mess. So we moved into the apartments and I could see like things were starting to go downhill, like really downhill. And he was in the military and he was in like a high level security job because he was really, really smart. Like book smart, not life smart, but book smart. And but something like with that clearance, you have to have like some kind of like checks every couple of years. And he knew that was coming up. So he was going to try to get out of the military because he didn't want to be kicked out or something like that. Don't quote me on this, people. Something like that happened. And so he wanted to move to Oklahoma to be with his family. Well, Oklahoma is like 14 hours away from my mama. And I was like, I'm not moving 14 hours away from my mama. you are crazy. I'm not happening. And I kind of thought about it for like half a second because he was like, Jordan, I'm sick. Like I'm an alcoholic. I need to be around my family. I need to be out of this like beach town that's like military and everybody's drinking. Like I need to be in a better environment. And I was like, okay, if I'm a good wife, I'll do this for him. That way he can heal and get better. And then I called my mom and I kind of like, I guess I kind of somewhat told her that I was thinking about doing it. And she was like, Jordan, if I could get down on my knees in front of you right now and like put my head on your feet and beg you not to, I would. And she was like crying and whimpering as she said that to me. And I was like, can't move. I'm not going to do it. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back into chaos because I would not conform and I would not do something that he wanted me to do, which I always did because I wanted to keep the peace. So then the drinking got like a million times worse, him not coming home, him throwing stuff, that kind of thing. And then my mom was like, Jordan, I want you to pack a bag and I want you to keep it in the car. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's silly. And she's like, no, pack a bag. And if he comes home drunk, you take that baby and you get in the car and you drive. I don't care where you go, but you drive. I was like, okay. So I did it. I packed a bag, but I didn't put it in the car. I put it like by the door. Like I tucked it away by the door. And so it was August 3rd, 2013. And he inevitably came home drunk. And I was so irritated because I had just gotten the baby to sleep and I didn't know how to get babies to sleep back then. So I like rocked her for like 3 hours trying to get her to go to bed. And finally it was like probably like 11 o'clock or midnight by this point. And he finally comes home and we were supposed to like order pizza or something that night because he loved pizza. And I was like, let's order pizza and watch a movie and I'll get the baby to bed. The kids, I'm using my voice now. I'll get the baby to bed and, we can spend time together. And he was like, okay, well, he never came home. And so I was already like super irritated. But I mean, what do? You just put the baby to bed and you get ready for bed. So he came home drunk and he was screaming at the top of his lungs, like mad at me because I wouldn't move and something else and yada, yada. And I worked at the apartments where we lived. So I was like, oh my God, please be quiet. Like everyone knows we live here. Like they know, like it's you yelling at me and it's going to like, they're going to call the police, like just stop. And so he just kept screaming and screaming and screaming. So I was like, okay, I'm going to leave. So I get all my stuff, I get the baby, and he wouldn't let me leave. And it was like a little small hallway to the front door because it was an apartment. And he wouldn't let me leave. And he wouldn't. And I was like, what am I going to do now? Like he blocked the door. I won't go into too much detail, but he would not let me leave. So then I just grabbed Avery and, she's wide awake at this point, screaming her head off because she's pissed that she's awake. And I lay down in my bed with her, like in my arms. And I was just like, okay. And I was thinking to myself, like, okay, he's drunk. He'll probably pass out soon. Like he'll just yell himself to sleep. It'll be fine. But that really pissed him off that I just like stopped responding because he just wanted a response. He wanted me to engage. And I was like, I'm tired, dude. Like, I do not have the energy to fight with you. And I don't even care. I just want to go to bed. So I lay down with her. I have her. And that really made him very angry. So then he grabbed me by my hair and he yanked me up out of the bed and said some words. And so at that point, with no bra, no shoes, no cell phone, naked baby, I take out running from my apartment and I run through the apartment complex to my friend's apartment. And there's like a little inset where the door is. So I like tucked myself in there and like they actually pulled a gun out on me because, someone's banging on their door at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And they're like, no, it's Jordan. It's Jordan. So they let me in and my friend's husband called the police. And that's when But even in that moment, I was like, no, don't call the police. It's fine. Like, he'll just calm down. Like, don't get the police involved. They're like, Jordan, you are running through an apartment complex with a naked baby, like running for your life because you're scared. Like, I'm calling the police. And then, because then he came and banged on that door because he, we're all friends. And they're like, Jordan, like, snap out of it. Like, you are terrified for your life.
It's amazing how even in those moments, because we're so programmed in that little codependent behavior, like we just want to people please, don't get them in trouble.
Like, oh, he's going to be mad at me.
Yes, he's going to be mad at me. Like, I am so drawn into your story right now, and my heart is beating faster, and I'm like, I've been that person. I've been there.
Oh my gosh. It was so scary. And then I like had to call my dad, and my dad had to come down, and my dad is a very big man, like tall, big, like his hand is the size of my head. Like, he is huge. But he's very calm, very, very calm.
Did the police get called?
Yes, they did. They came, there was a report, all that good stuff.
Okay.
And so, and there was like an injunction, which is AKA a restraining order. There was lots of stuff after that. Like, I had to go close all the bank accounts, had to pull all the money out, like, because he would have taken everything I had. Because everything was joint, because we're married, and that's what married people do, is have joint bank accounts. So, like, all of those measures were taken. My dad took me back home to where I grew up, and like, even in that moment, like, he somehow got arrested later that day, because he ran, somehow got arrested, and called me, and I was like, I didn't press charges. Like, it's not my fault you got arrested. I don't know what happened. Well, in the state of Florida, they detain you for 24 hours with anything domestic. I don't know if they do that in other states, but in Florida they do. It's called a cool-off period. They just put you in jail for 24 hours so you can calm down. So they did that, and I went to, and I didn't know any of this. So my dad drove me to the jail the next day, and I talked to so imagine me, like little Miss Priss over here, in like I don't even know what it's called, in like a chambers with like all these like really terrible people that I have no idea what they're in jail for. And I'm like, oh, excuse me, Mrs. Judge. I didn't press charges, so I'm not sure why, like, my husband's in jail. And she's like, oh no, honey, the state of Florida pressed charges. I was like, oh, okay. All right. Thank you. And so I walked back out, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is so dumb. And then my crazy self was like, okay, I'm just going to give it one last shot. So all this happened in August. We had a restraining order for 30 days or maybe 60 days. And then he came back home. Yeah, 60 days. So in October 1st, I let him come back home. And he was a perfect angel for 30 days. Did everything. And then he did something, and it's just, and then he stole money out of my purse to go buy flowers for me. I'm like, you can't even buy flowers for me with your own money. It was just such a mess. And then Halloween came up, and it was our daughter's first Halloween, and I wanted to do something fun. Like, I mean, how exciting is that? Like, your daughter's first Halloween, like, you get to buy a costume, and she's all cute and squishy, and he just wouldn't come home. And then so all of that happened again, and I was like, done. Don't, no. And there's a whole nother story around that, but it's pretty similar to the first one. And at that point, it was like, okay, I gave you a second chance. Now everyone can see that it's you that is the crazy pants and not me. Because, those kind of people will make everyone around you believe that you're actually the crazy one, not them.
Yes, they do.
So I was like, now everyone can see that I did my part. I tried. And because he had his family believing that it was all me. And I just had to prove that, I was the normal one. And then a few months later, he moved back to Oklahoma, and he's been there ever since.
Does he have a relationship with Avery now at all?
Mm-mm. We traveled there. We traveled there. We flew to Oklahoma 4 times. after he moved. One time was for her first birthday. Another time was for Thanksgiving. And then the last 2 times was just me trying to get paperwork signed to get an annulment. Oh, because that's another piece of the story is that not only was I his third wife, he was also still married to his second one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I couldn't get a divorce because I was never really legally married. So that was a whole nother mess. Yeah.
Wow. And you found this out after all of this stuff?
No, I found that out when I was pregnant with Avery.
Oh my goodness.
But I didn't know what to do.
Right.
I mean, what do you do?
Yeah. What do you do? Oh my goodness. Wow. So how have you, because you don't come out of that unscathed, even though you seem to be the normal person in all of that. I mean, you were the one running to the neighbor saying, I'm scared for my life, but don't call the cops. Like how have you come out of that, and what have you gotten to do around that to heal from that and grow from that so you don't step into the same type of situation?
Right. Such a great question. So I've always been a Christian. I grew up in church. And I've always just had like, not that I like go to, I mean, now I go to church every Sunday, but like, I've always been really close with God. Like I've always prayed, not that I can't recite the Bible. I'm not like, I can't do those things, and I'm not perfect by any means, but I've always known that God had a big plan for me. I've always known that he has my back. And in those moments, I was like, this is not what God had planned for me. I don't know what's happening, but this is not it. Like, this is not the life that I'm supposed to have. And like, I've always known, like, I'm so smart. And I don't say that like in a braggadocious way. Like, I am a smart person and I work really, really hard. And I am beautiful and I am worthy. And why on earth would I allow myself? And so it's taken me a long time to get to here, but I knew that deep down, like I am meant for way more than what's happening right now. So I hung on to that. And so then I went back to school and I was like, okay, we're going to get out of this. We're going to, get back on track. I'm going to go to school like I'm supposed to do. And so I go back to college and I get my accounting degree, which is so hard, but that was so, even though I'm not an accountant, like that degree, for me to say that I have a degree that was such an important step in my journey of being able to say, hey, I'm going to do something and I'm going to finish it. And the reason why I was able to get through all of that is because I had Avery. And every day I saw her and I was like, baby, I'm going to make a life for you. Like, you just hold tight. And I wasn't going to wait on anyone else to come do that for me. And I went to school, got my degree. And in the middle of all that, I met my husband, and who is the most incredible person on the planet. And he loves me. And like, I would not be where I am right now without him, because he provided that entrepreneur like world to me. Like, I was just going to go work a 9 to 5 and, do my thing. But he opened up this whole new world that I've really, truly believe that I was always meant to do this, and everything happens in order. Oh, and one other thing that I wanted to add, I'm sorry, is whenever you asked earlier, like, did you ever take time to process what you're going through? And I answered no. I had not taken time to process that until this year, until I went to the Mommy Millionaire Mastermind Retreat in May. And I've been in survival mode for 6 years. Just like, get to the next thing, get the degree, get this, launch a podcast, make this much money, do this, get that certification, go, 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 go. And then I finally looked around and I was like, I have a house, I have a husband, I have 2 happy babies, I travel, I can do most things, like I get my nails done, get my lashes done. Like, we're doing pretty good. Now what? And it all hit me like a ton of bricks when I finally came out of that tunnel of trying to get to the other side.
You got to bring me to tears, because that's just so powerful what you shared. Like, so beautiful and so powerful. when you told your daughter, I'm going to make a life for you, like, I've got this, I'm going to do this, that is just so incredibly powerful, because you could go any which way with that. And I think too often we see people who fall victim to their circumstances instead of empowering themselves. And even though you were doing it in a, let's go, we're going to do this, this, and this, like a survival, I mean, both are survival modes. But, for me, I went the opposite way. I fell victim. I looked for somebody to take care of me. And I've been looking for somebody to take care of me for so long. And it's only this last year where I'm like, no, I am doing this. I am going to take care of me. I'm going to take care of my family, my kids, and, bringing up and being empowered. But on either side of that, if we don't process that kind of situation that happened to you, or for those who know my story, like, if we don't process and heal through that, it's going to carry us, and we're not going to thrive the way that we can. And
yeah, I knew that. This summer, like whenever that happened, I was feeling like super disconnected from all the ladies there. And I was like, I'm here to have fun. Like, I want to learn about business and Instagram, and I want to meet all these people and da da da. And then it got super deep really quick. And I was like, oh, can we have a cocktail first? We just got here. And so I was like, and I could not connect to these women. Like, I could connect to their stories, but everyone was bawling in the room except for me, because I was like, I had this huge wall built up, and I could not figure it out. Well, then the next evening we were at Kayla's house. We were having dinner, beautiful conversation, beautiful wine. It was amazing. And Alex Gazzaro, who's in the mastermind, she's amazing. She is a life coach, but she's also a fitness coach. She's amazing. And she just started chit chat with me about my life and my things and what's happening. And I was like, yeah, I just feel really disconnected. I can't, I have a wall. And she's like, okay, tell me about that. It was a little therapy session at dinner. And she just kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. Oh, so your parents, what did your parents do when you were in middle school? Were they a part of your life? So deep. And then we finally got to the part that I did not process. And I was shoulder shaking sobs at Kayla Craft's dinner table. Wailing. It finally, 6 years of pain came out. And I called my husband that night and I was like, so I probably need to go to therapy. He was like, okay, what's up? And I was like, so, all that stuff that happened, I should probably talk to somebody about that. And I say it jokingly now, but I did go to therapy. It was very hard. I'm such an overachiever. I wanted to get it over with. I was like, okay, let's get to the thing. Let's, talk about it. Let's get it over with. And it was very, very hard to go back and sit in those times. Cause I told you before, I have blocked so much of what happened that whenever I start pulling back things out of little compartments in my brain, it is so painful. And for me in this moment, I dealt with a little bit of it, and then I had to stop because it was so debilitating that I could not function. In my job and my family, this is probably in August of this year. I was I'm so sad. I'm so sad all the time. And every little thing would hurt me. To the point where I would I was trying to meditate and tears were coming down of my closed eyes. And I was like, okay, I have to take a break from therapy. I understand that I need it and I understand that it's helpful and powerful, but it's just not a good time for me right now. And then I flipped back, on my cheerful, abundant, yay self. And I had to be super gentle on myself and realize there's a time and a place for everything. And now at least I know that I still have stuff to work on. And that will be a goal for me to work on that later. Because like you said, in order for me to show up and be the person that I want to be, I can't have this stuff hitting me in 10 years. Like I need to work through it now. I need to get through it now. That way I can show up and be the amazing person that I know I'm meant to be.
Yeah. And when it comes to this stuff, I always think about our daughters and what, even though we don't intend to, it can leak out onto them in ways that we don't really see or whatnot. And your story is so powerful. And I want to say and give you kudos, like how brave of you to recognize and sit at Kayla Craft's table and cry your eyes out. What a more beautiful place you could do that at. And then go seek the help, because oftentimes stuff will come up and people are not willing to actually go seek that help. They'll continue to do the same behavior that they've been doing, put up the wall, put up the mask of everything's great and everything's fine. And they're not willing, it's too scary of a place to go face that. But that's where the growth is, and that's where the beauty is. And there is so much power in bringing it up and out and speaking about it. And you've done that, and you're doing that, and you know that you have more to do. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't, like, I think it's amazing that you recognize, okay, I've done some of this and I need to pull back a little bit because, it is so heavy. That's brave too, because some people will be like, I'm just going to go through it and grow and just do it just to get it done and out. And I think that kind of goes back into that whole, here's another thing, check type of mentality, rather than really being with and being in the moment. And so that's so beautiful. And I just love that you shared that with us in your story. I want to ask you, what is it that you're growing through right now to get you through to all that you want to accomplish in 2020? What is it that you're growing through right now?
Oh, that's such a good question. Katrina, you're a bomb podcast host.
Thank you.
You're amazing. Okay. So what I'm dealing with right now is a lot of things, but I would say, oh man, it's so hard. We have a goal to move to Austin, Texas at the end of June or July. So this summer, before Avery goes back to school, we want to be in Austin, Texas. We set that goal because I was like, Bo, like we have to have more. We have to have something bigger to work towards. Like we need bigger. Like I have to have a bigger goal, like an extreme crazy goal. And we want to, should say but I want to buy this huge, big, beautiful house. And not massive, but and I want it to be nice. We're real estate agents. We see all these beautiful houses and gosh darn it, it's my turn. I want to have this beautiful Instagram house where I can have all these events and have people over. Like I can see the house, I visualize it. And I try not to say, and it's going to take a lot to get there because we want to move debt-free. We want to move and purchase our home and put 10% down on our home that we're going to purchase. And there's a lot of huge goals. And probably the biggest thing that I'm working through right now is self-sabotage. Because and joining Monate was a form of self-sabotage for me because I have been working on my real estate course since August. And I've been going and going and going, and I did my slides and I'm making it evergreen and all this stuff. And then the opportunity to join Monate came up, and I was like, oh, that would be so much easier than doing this course. And so I did that. And then I got swept up into network marketing, which is so much fun to me. Like you can say whatever you want about network marketing, but it is so amazing and it is so much fun. It's a lot of hard work, but boy, is it rewarding. And it's like a game. It's just so fun. So that me joining that in that moment was me subconsciously trying to do something easier to avoid what I actually needed to do in order to get to my goal. And I'm relaunching tomorrow with my new course. And I still have to finish my slides, but there's at every turn, there's something that's trying to pull my attention away from doing my course, because my course is going to be the way that we move, because it's the location independent income that we need in order to move. And every day there's an opportunity for me to pull away from my goal. And it's so easy for me to try to like subconsciously self-sabotage myself because it just ties into me not believing in that we can actually achieve this goal. And I don't want to like have a prophecy of like us not achieving that. Does that make sense? I kind of talked in circles.
It makes complete sense. I totally get it.
Because it's so scary and huge. And it's like, oh, you can't really do that. And then so I'm subconsciously doing things that are going to make that true.
It's so what and huge?
Scary.
How about exciting?
No, I know, but like my subconscious is like, that's a scary, huge goal. You can't do that. And then I'm like, yes, I can.
Yes, I can. Back down, my subconscious.
And so like even us just saying out loud that we're moving is weird. Like we are moving to Austin, Texas. We are moving. And Bo's like, but do we? I'm like, yes, we're moving.
That's amazing. Why Austin, Texas? I have friends that moved from Washington and I believe they're in Austin, Texas. But why Austin, Texas for you?
So Bo has wanted to move to Austin for like 10 years and he loved it. And then so our company's headquarters, Keller Williams, is in Austin. So he went to Austin a lot for like events and stuff. And then we went for the Rachel Hollis Rise Together conference in 2018. Yeah, 2018. And I fell in love. I mean, taco trucks, live music, beautiful. Awesome. Like beautiful, like big city, but there's like a river. It's just so pretty. And so I kind of like opened up to it a little bit. And then the more I traveled this year and the more that I'm getting clear on what our life is going to look like and what I am meant to do, I know that I need to be around more entrepreneurs and be in a bigger place and somewhere that's more in alignment with what we're trying to accomplish. And so I opened up to it. And then we went again in August of this year for a week. And we totally skipped out on our conference and went and looked at houses.
That's amazing.
Yes. And we found an area that we love. That's why like I see it so clear because like I've been there. Like I've seen the house. I've seen the neighborhood. I know what it's going to be like. I know what my drive is going to be to downtown. I can see the taco trucks we're going to eat at. Like, it just makes me happy.
That's amazing. I love that. What is one little thing that you want to share with our audience before we go today?
So this podcast is called Just As You Are.
Just As We Are. Yep.
Just As We Are. Okay. So what I want to say is give yourself grace for where you are right now. This is a journey and every single day is going to take work and every single day you're going to have to try harder and be better and strive and do the thing. And it is scary and it is overwhelming, but give yourself grace for where you are right now because it's amazing and it's beautiful and it's exactly where you're meant to be. And your success is inevitable and you are on the right path.
Oh, that was so good. I love that. Thank you. Where can we find you, Jordan?
Oh my goodness. So I love to hang out on Instagram. You can find me at MRS Jordan English. And I also have a podcast, which is called the Life for Me podcast. And Katrina's going to be on there. So come on over and listen to her episode. And I have a Facebook group called the Life for Me Lady Entrepreneurs. So it's just like a very abundant, very amazing group of women that you can hop in there and say hi and get all the goodies.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for just being so vulnerable and open and sharing your heart with our audience today. I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for the Mommy Millionaire community. Without that, we wouldn't have met. And oh my goodness, we have so much in common. I just love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katrina.
Thank you. Hey guys, if you loved this episode, please make sure you go over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review, and I would so appreciate it. And share it with your friends and family. Take a snapshot, post it on your social media, get it out there because the more that you get it out there, the more that my mission and my stories get out to people. And it is so important to remember that we're not alone and that we are loved and whole just as we are. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Hi, friends. If you enjoyed this episode of the Just As We Are podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would head on over to iTunes and leave me a 5-star review. Take a screenshot of today's episode and tag me at Katrina Lelly on your social media. If you haven't already, head on over to the Just As We Are podcast community on Facebook and hit join, where you will get to join more of the Just As We Are tribe. And remember that no matter where you are on your journey, you are completely whole and loved just as you are.